there's a place to get linked. Linked up, linked out, and linked to your community. If you have a disability or identify with one or someone who has one, this is a place to get linked. And it's coming up next.
Disability Life TV is sponsored by Connor Dental Associates.
Hello everyone, my name is Yvette Pegues, and we are on Disability Life TV. Today we're going to get linked up. Where? At Disability Link, located in Tucker, Georgia. We have, calling in, Sukwah Glick. Now, Sukwah Glick is on the line, so she's going to be voice on today's show, and we're going to talk about Disability Link. Now, I called you Sukwah. Are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Sukwah's really just when I'm getting in trouble, though, so you guys can call me Sukie for sure. No worries.
I like Sukie. Sukie's better. In fact, I don't know that I've called you Sukwah very much, but I'm excited that we are not talking about you getting in trouble here. In fact, I think what you do where you are gets people out of trouble. Tell me a little bit about Disability Link, Sukie.
Disability Link is the nonprofit organization, Center for Independent Living, that serves the 12 metro Atlanta counties. And in order to be a Center for Independent Living, at least 51% of us are people with disabilities serving the disability community. And we have to provide 5 core services. That's advocacy, peer support, independent living skills training, information referral, and transition services. And that's for all ages within the 12 metro Atlanta counties and all types of disabilities.
Wow, that is expansive. So you only have one office, am I hearing that correctly, Sukie?
Yeah, we're located in Tucker, Georgia, on Montreal Road. It's actually really accessible by MARTA. We have 2 stops going either way on the 125 MARTA route.
Got it. So tell me what you do, Sukie, at Disability Link. What is your role?
My official title is the Youth and Social Media Specialist. So I work with our consumers between the ages of 14 and 29 to achieve those transition goals of what's going to happen after high school. And then the social media part, we are on many social media outlets such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, trying to get our blog started and everything, and hopefully a YouTube channel going.
Wow. So how can we reach you on your social media site, Sukie?
Well, our top 3 right now, our most popular, are Facebook. So you can catch us on facebook.com/disabilitylink. On Twitter, it's similar, Facebook or twitter.com/disabilitylink. And then Instagram is just the @disabilitylink.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about what your role is and some of the examples of how you interact with the youth at Disability Link, Sukie.
Well, being a Center for Independent Living, we're also consumer driven. So when our consumers come to us to request services and wanting to achieve their personal goals, that's what I do with our consumers, again, at the transition age of 14 to 29. So I've worked with our consumers to achieve mobility goals, and that is, navigating through MARTA or helping with, or supporting. Helping is one way, but supporting it with budgeting, maybe wanting to create a budget and learning to be ready to live independently in a community of their choice. And this month, we're actually going to be doing IL trainings, and IL, we have a lot of alphabet soup, so IL is independent living. And independent living training of Microsoft programs, and this month is going to be learning about Microsoft Word and the basics of that.
So let me just ask you about your age bracket. Is the earliest age to participate in the Disability Link program 14?
No, that's the beginning of what we consider to be the transition age, when you're considering, or when you're thinking about what's going to happen after I graduate. But to be a consumer of Disability Link, we work with all ages. And as our director has said before, from womb to tomb, if you know of services that you might be needing in the future or for your child and whatnot, give us a call. We'll try to provide that resource to support you or support you directly.
I like that, womb to tomb, because it's never too early to prepare. And what I need to understand for those of our viewers who will be listening to you today is, what are the requirements? What would qualify me to use services at Disability Link?
So I mentioned earlier working on some goals.
Right.
And as part of our paperwork and for our funders, we do create independent living goals, an independent living plan.
Okay.
And those are any independent living skills or anything that the consumer wants to work on. And we mentioned disability. That's contrary to what the medical model states as a disability. We don't require any diagnosis as long as your disability and your independent living goals align. Then we want to work on that and support with your independence, and that could be maintaining it or gaining it.
I really like that, because so many programs that are offered today for people diagnosed with a disability require so much paperwork and so much medical intervention. I think I heard you say that you have non-traditional disability requirements. Could you explain or just talk a little bit about that for me?
Well, we go by the social model versus the medical model, and the social model states that the person with the disability is not what needs to change, but it's the environment that needs to become more inclusive and provide those resources. And the medical model is the other way around, of course. And we, the staff at the Center for Independent Living, we're not counselors.
Got it.
We're peers. We're people that have experienced these life-changing things, and we want to support our peers.
Makes sense. So am I hearing that you have personally had some of the same challenges for which you are supporting in a peer position?
Yes. I am, and I know folks can't tell because I'm over the phone, but I am a person with a disability. I use a wheelchair, and my disability is known as arthrogryposis. And 2 years ago, I moved from one state to another, having to gather all my resources, get my supports in line, and continuing to do that. And that involves, personal care attendance daily,
Right.
making sure that I have transportation to and from work,
Right.
getting my work accommodation in line, all of that fun stuff. It's all independent living, and living that definitely helps me support my peers. And I work with, again, transition age consumers. So that's, one of the big questions is,
Right.
Is this possible? Can I live on my own?
Right.
And how do I do it? And so I'm grateful enough to be able to do that from my own lived experiences.
I really like that you are peers and that you can speak from a position of the exact same condition that your clients are coming in for. So, Sukie, I understand you to say that your youth consumers are between the ages of 14 and 29. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Perfect. So how did you get involved with the youth? Tell me about maybe an example of what you do and what maybe an experience that you've had with that particular window, because I just want to make clear to those that are watching that you can participate in Disability Link after the age of 29, but you just won't be considered a youth. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So 14 to 29 is basically the consumers that are majority are looking for support with what's happening after high school, or where can I live to be independent on my own, separate from my parents? How do I get employment? But as a young person.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes complete sense, because we're talking about teenagers. And so to start at 14 and to look at 29, I think what you do really does give a lot of hope. and it sounds like you're really good at what you do. So I just want to take this moment to obviously thank you for what you do. I do know personally that it's a very valuable service, but there is something in particular before we go on to our commercial that we call a D-Life Diamond. What that is it's a nugget, something that pretty much wraps everything that we talked about today into a simple sentence or two that you would like to share with the listeners. What would you like to, based on what we discussed, share with our viewers and listeners today?
Well, guys, if you identify as a person with a disability, and again, we don't require any paperwork, and you live within the 12 metro Atlanta counties and want to work on independence or gaining that independence, give us a call. We're located in Tucker, Georgia, and we'd love to work with you.
Wonderful. And what is your phone number? How can we reach you directly by phone, much like we are communicating today?
404-687-8890.
Wonderful. Well, we had a pleasure having you to call it in today. We really do appreciate you and support everything that you do with Disability Link, Sukie.
Thank you so much for everything that you do, and I look forward to future endeavors with y'all.
Likewise. And now we're going to break for our commercials, our advertisers, and our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Connor Dental Associates, full-service dentistry, providing orthodontics, implants, laser dentistry, and general care, set in a calm and relaxing environment. Our experienced dentist and staff are here to maintain your dental health, improve your appearance and quality of life. Compassionate, professional, and informative. Ask about our core whitening system, servicing insured and non-insured patients of all ages. Located in Kennesaw, near I-75. Call today and experience the difference for yourself.
Welcome back to Disability Life TV, and thank you to our sponsors and advertisers. Before the break, we were talking to Sukie Glick. She is a youth support person at Disability Link. I know that's a tongue twister because we're Disability Life, but we're Disability Life TV, and we support each other as organizations. So to piggyback on what was said earlier, Sukie helps clients between 14 and 29 who are considered youth in her program using a non-medical model, which is really important to understand because most programs require that you bring in loads of paperwork about your condition. I'd like to transition into something that I had the opportunity to start, which aligns very much with the youth population. It's called a legacy of literature. Now, our window of youth is between the ages of 7 and 17. The way this started out actually was my becoming Miss Wheelchair USA in 2014. A very exciting opportunity to represent not just the state of Georgia, but as a national title holder, I had the blessing and opportunity to represent the entire country. When you are in a pageant, which I had never been before, you have to select something called a service platform. What that means is there is a particular service that you need to provide. And I call that the crowning service because each and every one of you that provides a service, someone who volunteers, you wear your own crown of glory. Doesn't have to be visible like mine, but I do want to tell you a little bit about the program that I selected. Now, it wasn't something that was in existence before becoming Miss Wheelchair USA, but it's something I thought was very important. As I mentioned, it's called a legacy of literature. Why is that so important to me? Well, I'll tell you if you haven't already heard this before. I am first generation high school, first generation college, and prior to my traumatic brain and spinal cord injury, I was a candidate for my PhD. Now, let me just expound on that. When my children published their book, they were 5 and 7. And at that age, they had far exceeded their grandparents. So neither one of my parents could read or write. I had no idea, obviously, at an early age that illiteracy was a invisible disability. And if you look back at it now, there was so much shame, but there's also very little opportunity. Having Caribbean family members, parents, and legacy, education was not offered to them. So they didn't have it to offer to me. Now, fortunately, there were some changes on my father's side where he chose to go back to school and become a citizen of this country. But unfortunately, there was so much shame and doubt and fear, my mother never did. So she died 2 years before my brain injury and signed her name with an X. Now, intelligence is measured in so many different ways. You may say she wasn't very smart, but she taught me 5 languages. And I felt it was very important that we leave a legacy, a library of stories, if you will, of children with disabilities, their spouses, their parents, and their siblings. Why is that important? Because everyone has a story. And most children believe they have a storm, and some actually do. So our hashtag is Storm to Stories. And I felt it was really important, much like my children did when they were being bullied, to turn their storm to stories. That's why we started a legacy of literature. And we did it under the nonprofit organization entitled DreamWriteHope University. That's DreamWriteHope.org. What happens at DreamWriteHope? We teach children, again, between the ages of 7 and 17 to turn their storms to stories. So the dream aspect is, what is your dream? What is it that you want to believe? What is your vision? We do a lot of that with vision boards, dream boards, sometimes vision recordings, if you're not using a board with the upper ages, because they just choose not to. And they use a lot of digital devices like recorders. We talk about the dream. We cut out pictures in magazines. We explore different opportunities and things that they think they'd like to write about. What is your storm? Define it. Discuss it. Allow them to become comfortable with it. Now, the writing part of it, which is the second part of the name Dream Write Hope, is about the business of publishing. So at a very early age, children are learning the importance of the English language, writing it properly, being able to articulate, but the pressure's not all on them. We have editors, we have retired teachers, we have different program pieces that are added to your story. Not in a way that changes your story, but helps support the business of writing a book. How are we going to market this? How are we going to pick an audience for you? So you don't have to do it alone. In fact, you bring your story, we get you published. Now, the third part of the Dream Write Hope University program is the hope. What do you hope to accomplish? What is your hope for this book? We have members of our community who would prefer to keep the book at home, to share it just with mom and dad, to have it bound. But others, much like my children, want to be able to use it to earn money. They're boys. They love to earn money. And it's a great incentive when speaking to other boys, because when you talk about earning money, it changes the scope of what you're doing. It's not just a story, it's a way to pay for college, starting at the age of 7. Now, we did cheat a little bit because my youngest was 5. But if you met him, you'd understand. So DreamWriteHope.org is an opportunity for children to turn storms to stories. So much like Disability Link, we offer opportunities and we offer exciting choices for children who are either experiencing a disability themselves, are in a family where there's a disability, or just personally have a story, a storm, an idea. And some boys and girls choose rap, a form of poetry, to write about. You would be absolutely surprised at the audience that's waiting for you to publish your thoughts, your idea, and your stories. So again, you can reach us at DreamWriteHope.org when you're ready to turn your storms to stories. We're also looking for teachers and editors and authors who would love to volunteer their time to support a child with or without a disability. We are talking about an all-inclusive program. Everyone's invited and welcome. So once again, we're at www.dreamwritehope.org. You can donate, you can sponsor a child, you can participate in the program, and you can also volunteer in such a way that uses your innate gifts and talents. We're really excited to offer this opportunity. Our goal is to publish 1 million children around the world, so there's room for you and anyone you know. Feel free to reach out and contact us and look at volunteering, helping, and supporting, and being a link between a child and their dreams. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think our D-Life Diamond is to dream, to hope, and to allow a child to turn their storm to a story, to turn their life to a future. And each and every one of you can do the same at whatever age. We love you for joining today, and we look forward to being here with you again in the near future.